The Zenith-class research vessel Astral Seeker drifted silently at the edges of an unremarkable solar system, its quantum sensors pulsing with unusual readings. Commander Rylix, a towering figure whose iridescent scales shifted colors with each movement, studied the holographic display with all four of their primary eyes. "Impossible," they muttered, their secondary breathing vents flaring with agitation. "Run the analysis again." First Science Officer Nixis, her crystalline form refracting the soft blue light of the bridge, interfaced directly with the ship's systems. "Analysis confirmed, Commander. The electromagnetic signatures from the third planet are chaotic. They follow no known pattern of technological advancement." The Astral Seeker had been mapping this sector of space for the Galactic Scientific Council for over 3 decades. They'd encountered hundreds of developing civilizations, each following the predetermined paths of technological and social evolution that all species were known to traverse. But this was different. Earth, as the inhabitants called it, defied every established principle of civilization development. Their technology level varied wildly across their planet, some regions barely harnessing electrical power, while others were taking their first steps into quantum mechanics. They fought wars with chemical explosives, while simultaneously developing fusion energy. They created art that served no practical purpose yet devoted massive resources to its creation. "Look at this," Research Director Zalura said, her tentacles weaving complex patterns as she manipulated the holographic display. "They're developing artificial intelligence while still using internal combustion engines. They've split the atom but haven't unified their global government. It's as if they're discovering everything in the wrong order." Commander Rylix moved closer to the display, their scales shifting to a deep purple of concentration. The more they observed these humans, the more fascinated they became. These beings seemed to operate on pure chaos. Their cities grew without proper geometric planning. Their social structures were impossibly complex, and their scientific advancement appeared to happen in random bursts, rather than along the logical progression. All other known species followed. "Their neural patterns are equally disturbing," Medical Officer Thex added, his gelatinous form pulsing with bioluminescent concern. "Their brains operate on the edge of what should be cognitive collapse, yet somehow this instability seems to drive innovation rather than madness." For 3 local solar rotations, the Astral Seeker observed Earth from their cloaked position. They watched humans create beautiful music that moved them to tears, build massive structures that defied efficient design principles, and develop technologies through what appeared to be pure trial and error rather than logical progression. "They're not just ignoring the universal constants of development," Rylix realized one day, their scales shifting to the bright orange of revelation. "They're thriving because of it. Their chaos is their strength." The crew's incredulity turned to alarm when their sensors detected something impossible. A new type of scanning technology being developed in a research facility in what the humans called Nevada. According to every known principle of technological progression, humans shouldn't have been capable of developing such technology for at least another 1,000 years. "They've detected us," Nixis announced, her crystalline form vibrating with shock. "Somehow, they've created a detection system that can see through our phase-shifted camouflage." Commander Rylix felt their scales ripple with a mixture of fear and excitement. In all their centuries of exploration, they'd never encountered anything like this. These humans, these impossibly chaotic, illogically advancing beings, had done something no other emerging civilization had ever managed. They'd surprised them. "The Council must be informed," Zalura insisted, her tentacles writhing with anxiety. "These humans, they're not following any of the rules. They're dangerous." But Rylix had already made their decision. Their scales shifted to the deep blue of determination as they gave their orders. "We're not leaving. We're going to study them more closely. The Council needs to understand exactly what we're dealing with here." It was a decision that would alter the course of galactic history, though not in the way any of them expected. As the Astral Seeker moved closer to Earth's orbit, None of its crew realized they were about to learn firsthand why humanity's unpredictability made them the most fascinating, and potentially the most dangerous, species in the known galaxy. The humans' chaotic nature wasn't a weakness to be studied and cataloged. It was a strength that the highly ordered, logical alien civilization had never encountered before, and one they were thoroughly unprepared to handle. Following Commander Rylix's decision to initiate closer observation, the Astral Seekers research team selected 3 primary study sites across Earth's surface: a quantum research facility in Bangalore, a military base in the Arctic Circle, and a seemingly unremarkable community college in Brisbane. These locations represented the bewildering spectrum of human development that so confounded the alien observers. "Our containment protocols are ready," Security Chief Mrevex announced, his metallic exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's ambient lighting. "We've designed the holding cells based on species 3 times as strong as these humans. Nothing could possibly escape." The first extraction targeted Dr. Aisha Roman, a quantum physicist whose work had inexplicably leaped ahead of humanity's expected development curve. The ship's teleportation beam extracted her from her late-night lab work without triggering a single alarm. At least, that's what their sensors indicated. What the aliens didn't realize was that Dr. Raman had anticipated something like this. The seemingly random equations scattered across her whiteboard were actually a sophisticated detection system of her own design. The moment she vanished, a silent alert was transmitted to several key individuals around the globe. Aboard the Astral Seeker, Dr. Roman proved to be anything but the docile test subject they'd expected. Within hours of regaining consciousness, she was asking questions about their quantum drive that made Research Director Zillara's tentacles twist with discomfort. "Your containment field is using a modified version of quantum entanglement to maintain stability," Raman observed casually, as if discussing the weather. "But you're losing efficiency by not accounting for temporal variance. I could help you optimize that." Disturbed by her rapid comprehension of their technology, the research team accelerated their study program. They captured Lieutenant James Okonjo, a military strategist from the Arctic base, and Professor Thomas Iwamoto, a linguistics instructor from Brisbane. Instead of showing fear or confusion, their new subjects displayed an almost predatory interest in their surroundings. Lieutenant Okonjo spent his time methodically testing every aspect of his cell's security systems, while Professor Iwamoto began developing a mathematical model of their universal translator's syntax patterns using nothing but the food paste they provided and the cell wall as a writing surface. "They're not just adapting," Medical Officer Thex reported, his gelatinous form rippling with concern. "They're innovating." "The military officer isn't trying to escape. He's trying to understand our security protocols. The linguist has nearly decoded our base translation matrix. And the physicist." He paused, his bioluminescence dimming. "She's already proposed 3 improvements to our quantum containment systems." Commander Rylix's scales shifted to a deep crimson of concern as they reviewed the data. The humans weren't behaving like test subjects. They were behaving like researchers themselves, treating their captivity as an opportunity to study their captors. The situation took an unexpected turn when Professor Iwamoto began singing what seemed to be nonsense songs in his cell. The aliens dismissed it as a stress response until Dr. Raman began responding with her own seemingly random musical patterns. Soon, Lieutenant Okonjo joined in, creating what appeared to be a 3-part harmony. "It's some kind of code," Nixes realized too late, her crystalline form vibrating with alarm. "They're communicating." Before the aliens could react, their ship's systems began experiencing subtle malfunctions. Nothing critical, a slight power fluctuation here, a minor gravitational hiccup there. But for a species that relied on absolute order and predictability, these small chaos elements were deeply disturbing. "Impossible," Zillara whispered, her tentacles coiling tightly. "They couldn't have affected our systems. They're contained. They have no access to technology." But they had underestimated human creativity once again. The musical patterns weren't just a code. They were a precise mathematical sequence that, when sung at exactly the right frequencies, created subtle resonance patterns in the ship's crystal-based computer systems. Meanwhile, on Earth, the alert triggered by Dr. Raman's abduction had set in motion a series of events that would prove humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their resilience. It was their ability to unite in the face of a common threat. As Commander Rayleigh watched their previously perfectly ordered ship begin experiencing increasingly frequent random malfunctions, their scales shifted to the pale yellow of dawning realization. They hadn't captured test subjects. They'd invited chaos agents aboard their vessel. And these humans were about to teach them exactly why underestimating humanity's power had been their greatest mistake. Send word to the Council. Rylix ordered, their scales now a modeled pattern of concern and fascination. Tell them we may have awakened something we don't understand. But as they watched their captives continue their seemingly innocent musical performance, they wondered if it wasn't already too late. The experiment to study humanity was rapidly becoming an experiment in survival, and the aliens were no longer sure who were the observers and who were the test subjects. Commander Rylix's warning to the Galactic Scientific Council proved prophetic. Within days of their message being sent, the Astral Seekers' perfectly ordered systems descended into what the humans might call organized chaos. The three captives had somehow transformed their separate holding cells into improvised laboratories. Dr. Raman's seemingly random tapping against her cell walls was actually mapping the ship's quantum resonance frequencies. Lieutenant Okonjo's daily exercise routine masked systematic tests of the artificial gravity's fluctuation patterns. Professor Iwamoto's constant humming had evolved into complex algorithms that interfered with the ship's neural network. They're not just understanding our technology, First Science Officer Nixis reported, her crystalline structure vibrating with unprecedented frequencies. They're improving it. Look at these power readings. Our quantum core efficiency has increased by 12% since they started their sonic experiments. But the real shock came when Security Chief Mrevex discovered that the humans' influence had spread beyond their containment areas. Crew members reported strange dreams, something their species had never experienced before. The ship's AI began developing what could only be described as intuition. Even the hydroponics bay was producing unexpected hybrid varieties of their carefully engineered food crops. It's like they're infecting our systems with their chaos, Research Director Zalora observed, her tentacles twisted in complex patterns of distress, not through any physical means, but through ideas. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity's response to the abductions demonstrated exactly why their chaotic nature made them so formidable. Instead of descending into panic or tribal conflicts as the aliens' models had predicted, the planet's nations united with surprising speed and efficiency. The quantum disturbances from Dr. Raman's disappearance had been tracked by laboratories in 15 different countries. Lieutenant Okonjo's Arctic base had recorded precise gravitational anomalies during his abduction. Professor Iwamoto's linguistic algorithms had been backed up to a cloud server moments before he vanished. Dr. Kira Patel, the head of Earth's hastily assembled Extraterrestrial Response Division, pieced together these seemingly unrelated incidents into a coherent picture. "They're studying us," she announced to an emergency session of the United Nations. "But in doing so, they've given us exactly what we need to find them." What the aliens couldn't comprehend was that humans excelled at turning disadvantages into advantages. Every scan they performed of Earth provided two-way data. Every test they ran on their captives taught the humans as much about alien technology as it taught the aliens about humans. Every transmission they sent to the Council created a signal that could be traced. Commander, Medical Officer Thex's gelatinous form pulsed with urgent bioluminescence. "You need to see this." The ship's long-range sensors had detected something impossible. Thousands of small objects launching from Earth's surface, each emitting a unique quantum signature that somehow matched the Astral Seeker's own resonance frequencies. "How?" Commander Rylix demanded, their scales cycling through patterns never before seen in their species. They couldn't possibly have developed quantum matching technology so quickly. But they had. Using data gathered from the abductions, combined with humanity's unique talent for innovative problem-solving, Earth's scientists had reverse-engineered enough of the aliens' technological principles to mount a response, not through brute force or advanced technology, but through the very chaos that made humans so unpredictable. Each launched object was different. Some were sophisticated quantum probes, others were simple radioactive isotopes, and some were just precisely calculated masses of various materials. Together, they created a complex web of gravitational and quantum disturbances that began to disrupt the astral seekers' cloaking systems. Fascinating, Dr. Rahman commented from her cell, where she continued her seemingly random tapping. You're about to learn why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our intelligence. It's our ability to work together in unexpected ways. As their ship's perfectly ordered systems began to fail under the assault of humanity's orchestrated chaos, Commander Relix finally understood. Their civilization had achieved greatness through order, logic, and careful planning. Humanity's path to advancement came through embracing chaos, encouraging variation, and turning limitations into opportunities. The tables hadn't just turned, they had been completely redefined. And as Earth's combined technological, military, and scientific resources focused on their position, the crew of the Astral Seeker faced a difficult choice: adapt to humanity's chaos, or fall victim to their own rigid order. The real experiment was just beginning, and humanity was now conducting it. The Astral Seekers' perfect order crumbled in the face of humanity's orchestrated chaos. Every attempt to restore their systems was met with a new, unpredictable counter from Earth. Commander Relix watched in fascination as their ship's defensive screens flickered under the assault of what humans called quantum jazz, a symphony of deliberately unharmonious frequencies that somehow worked together. They're not just attacking us, Nixis observed, her crystalline form resonating with newfound frequencies. They're communicating with our captives through the attacks themselves. Each wave of interference carries embedded patterns that match our prisoners' sonic experiments. The truth hit them like a gravitational wave. Dr. Raman's tapping, Lieutenant Okanjo's exercises, and Professor Iwamoto's humming hadn't just been mapping their systems. They had been creating a blueprint for Earth's response, transmitted through the very scans the aliens used to study them. Earth's counterattack proved unlike anything in the Galactic Council's records. Traditional military vessels would have launched concentrated energy beams or matter-antimatter weapons. Instead, humanity sent swarms of seemingly primitive devices that worked in concert to create effects that shouldn't have been possible with their level of technology. They're using our own quantum wake against us, Research Director Zalara reported, her tentacles writhing in agitation. Those primitive rockets they've launched, they're not weapons. They're resonance anchors, creating a web of quantum entanglement that's disrupting our phase shift capabilities. Humanity's response didn't just demonstrate their technological ingenuity. It showcased their ability to unite and innovate under pressure. Countries that had been rivals days before now worked in perfect coordination. Scientists who had jealously guarded their research freely shared breakthroughs. Military forces that once pointed weapons at each other now synchronized their efforts against a common goal. Commander Relix's scales shifted to a previously unseen pattern as they realized the full implications. They're not just fighting us, they're learning from us. Every defensive measure we take teaches them more about our technology. They're treating this entire conflict as a learning opportunity. The situation reached a critical point when Earth's combined efforts finally managed to disrupt the Astral Seekers' cloaking field. But instead of the expected military strike, they received a transmission, in perfect galactic standard, coded in the same quantum frequencies the ship used for internal communications. Dr. Kira Patel's holographic image appeared on the bridge, causing the alien crew to freeze in shock at the impossibility of such technological compatibility. "We know you can understand us," she began, "just as we've learned to understand you. We're prepared to demonstrate exactly why underestimating humanity was a mistake, or we can pursue a more productive path forward. The transmission continued, outlining exactly how Earth had decoded their technology, replicated their quantum communications, and developed countermeasures to their most advanced systems, all within a matter of days. But more importantly, it detailed how humanity had already begun improving upon the alien technology they discovered. Your quantum core's efficiency can be increased by 30%, Dr. Patel explained, by introducing controlled chaos into the containment field, something your perfectly ordered civilization never considered. We've already tested the principles using the resonance patterns our people aboard your ship helped us develop. Commander Relix watched in amazement as the humans transmitted detailed scientific data proving their claims. The improvements they proposed defied conventional physics, yet the preliminary tests run by the ship's AI confirmed their validity. You have two options, Dr. Patel concluded. Continue this conflict and face the full creativity of a united humanity, or engage in a scientific and cultural exchange that could benefit both our civilizations. We're equally prepared for either outcome. As if to emphasize their point, a new wave of quantum disturbances rippled through space. But these weren't attacks. They were demonstrations of dozens of potential improvements to the Astral Seeker's systems, each one developed by combining alien technology with human innovation. The crew of the Astral Seeker faced an unprecedented situation. Their mission to study a primitive species had led to that species not only understanding their technology, but improving upon it in ways their ordered minds had never imagined possible. The choice before them was clear: adapt to a new understanding of the universe that included humanity's creative chaos, or risk becoming an example of why underestimating humanity's potential was a grave mistake. Commander Rylix's scales shifted to a color their species had never displayed before, one that would later be recognized across the galaxy as the hue of revolutionary change. Commander Rylix's decision would later be recorded in the galactic archives as the moment that changed intergalactic civilization forever. With their scales shimmering in that unprecedented hue, they ordered the release of the human captives and accepted Dr. Patel's offer of collaboration. The scene aboard the Astral Seeker as Dr. Raman, Lieutenant Okonjo, and Professor Iwamoto walked freely onto the bridge became legendary. Rather than showing anger or resentment, they immediately began offering detailed suggestions for improving various ship systems, their eyes bright with scientific curiosity. "Your quantum matrix is beautiful," Dr. Raman commented, running her hand along a crystalline control panel, "but it's too perfect. Sometimes, a little imperfection creates remarkable opportunities." She proceeded to demonstrate how introducing controlled chaos into the ship's quantum core could increase its efficiency by factors the aliens had believed impossible. The Galactic Scientific Council's response to Commander Rylix's report was initially one of horror. The idea of embracing chaos as a scientific principle went against every established belief about technological and social progress. But the results were undeniable. Within months, joint human-alien research teams had made more technological advances than the Council had seen in centuries. Human intuition combined with alien precision created breakthroughs that neither civilization could have achieved alone. The Raman-Rylix principles of quantum chaos would go on to revolutionize space travel across the galaxy. Lieutenant Okonjo's military insights led to a complete rethinking of galactic defense strategies. "Your perfect formations and predictable patterns are a weakness," he explained to a stunned council of military directors. "Sometimes, the best defense is one that even you don't fully understand." Professor Iwamoto's work with the universal translators expanded their capabilities beyond mere language. Communication isn't just about words, he taught at the newly established Earth Galactic Cultural Exchange Center. It's about understanding the beauty of different ways of thinking. Even what seems like noise can carry profound meaning. But perhaps the most significant change came in how the galactic community viewed development itself. The rigid paths of technological and social evolution that had been seen as universal constants were revealed to be just one way of advancing. Humanity's chaotic progress once dismissed as primitive, became recognized as a valid and often superior approach. Dr. Patel's vision of collaboration proved prophetic. Earth became a hub of innovation, where alien order and human chaos merged to create something entirely new. The sight of crystalline alien scientists working alongside human researchers, each learning from the other's approach, became commonplace in laboratories across the planet. 5 years after first contact, the Galactic Council made an unprecedented decision. Earth was not merely granted membership in the galactic community, it was given a special status as the center for innovative development. The planet's ability to foster unpredictable yet brilliant advances made it the most sought-after scientific posting in the galaxy. Commander Rylix, who chose to remain on Earth as the first galactic ambassador, often reflected on their initial misconceptions. Their scales now regularly display that revolutionary hue, which humans had named the color of possibility. "We came to study what we thought was a primitive species," they wrote in their memoirs. But instead, we learned that our own advancement had been limited by our inability to embrace chaos. Humanity taught us that true progress comes not from following a predetermined path, but from being willing to forge new ones. The quantum sensors aboard the Astral Seeker, now a museum piece in the Global Space Center, still pulse occasionally with their original rhythm. But now, thanks to human innovation, they also dance with new frequencies, a constant reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come from those we underestimate the most. As humanity and their new alien allies look to the stars together, one thing has become clear: the power of human creativity and adaptability, once dismissed as primitive chaos, has become the galaxy's greatest asset, and any civilization that underestimates that power does so at their own risk. In the end, Dr. Patel would later tell graduating classes at the Earth Galactic Academy, they didn't just underestimate humanity's power, they underestimated the power of accepting that there's more than one way to advance. Our greatest strength isn't our chaos or their order. It's our ability to combine both into something greater than either could be alone.